Welcome to the Bung Pod, baby. My name is Ian. I'm your host. This is my co-host, Jasmine, Jazzy, Jazzy J. I have no idea. I'm just making shit up. I'm Ian, aka Wonderboy, at your service. This is our first episode.
Yes.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Woo!
So I hope you guys enjoy it. We're just gonna talk about our background a little bit in the wine industry and why you should actually just give a shit what we're talking about and why you should listen and or why you should be entertained, whatever. So yeah. So welcome to the Bung Pod. We do have a Patreon if you want to go and visit the Patreon. It is patreon.com/officialbungpod. Be part of the Bung Pod Jabroni gang if you want to support us and get exclusive content. So without further ado, welcome to the pod. Just us two here hanging out.
Yeah.
All right. So we got a bottle open already. This is nice.
Love it.
This bottle, I'm just gonna quick intro on the bottle. This is by Upside Down Wines. They are based in Red Mountain, I believe. I think that's their production studio. But they do have a really awesome new tasting room in Clay Elm, Washington, in the mountains there. It's super beautiful. I haven't gone there yet. Hopefully go there, do a pod episode with him. That'd be epic so you guys can see the site. This bottle is called the Mourvedre Dre V Carbonic. So it's a carbonic macerated Mourvedre. And it's, if you're not watching this, this is the style of Dr. Dre's first album, the Chronic album, which is why it's called the Carbonic, and that's why it has a space between the Morv and the Dre. So, Mourvedre Dre, the Carbonic. I think that's super creative. I'm a big hip hop fan, so I super appreciate that. So, cheers to Seth and Audrey Kitsky, the winemaker and / co-owners together.
Yes. Ooh.
Oh, it's tasty. Light, refreshing, lean style Mourvedre. Drink that shit all day. You can put that in the fridge and chill it down for the summertime. It's super awesome. So, Jasmine,
Yes.
Jazzy, whatever you want to be called. What got you into wine? Tell me a little bit about your background into wine, because I don't think we've really talked about it before.
Okay, so I am from Bainbridge Island, Washington.
Where? A little slower.
Bainbridge Island.
Bainbridge, like the
Brain
jeweler?
Damage Island. And I used to come over to Chelan, and when I did that, my parents would drag me to these wineries, especially when they started booming. And I thought, you know what? With seeing how much my parents drink, I could get into this. I also had a green thumb. I loved gardening all summer long, even from a young age. So that's kind of where it all started.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to Washington State University.
Wazoo.
Go Cougs. And studied business marketing with a minor in hospitality business management. And then continued my education with their viticulture certification program.
Nice.
Because I like more of the vineyard side. I like to be out in the garden, really. I ended up getting my WSET 1.
Mm-hmm.
And then I would like to get my WSET 2, but yeah. And just work in the industry, love the industry. It's so much fun. Obviously I get to drink for a living, so
hell yeah.
That's always a perk, especially when I deal with people like you.
Mm-hmm. Like me? Who am I? Who is a person like me?
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. For those of you who don't know, WSET, WSET is a wine and spirits education trust. It is a international wine education, and also they do spirits education as
Yes.
well. Um, they're all over the globe. They go kind of hand in hand with the Quartermaster Sommeliers, the CMS program where Master Sommeliers come out of. It's just not really focused on the service aspect of serving wine. They just really focus on the education about wine in general. And I went through that as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a great program, especially if you're in the hospitality industry, food and beverage, especially to help you kind of understand your palate. That's really
Especially if you're not going to be working front of house,
yes,
like actually serving tables
yes,
as a sommelier, then it's better. I think it's better just to go through the WSET program. All right, guys, take a break for a minute because if you enjoy the show, I have some amazing news for you. Do you want exclusive content, more episodes per week, behind the scenes snippets, discounts every time we drop some dope ass merch? Do you want your opinions and hot takes to be heard on the show and be a producer on the show? Because if you do, head to patreon.com/officialbungpod. We want to hear what you have to say. We want to see your hot takes. We want your opinions. We want to cover your topics on this show. Just be a part of the Bung Pod Jabroni gang. Head to patreon.com/officialbungpod. Now let's get back to it. Teach his own as well. If you want to learn that skill, it's a great skill to have. But
heck yeah.
But yeah, WSET is great.
What about you?
I'm gonna try and make this as concise as I can, but I learned about wine when I was in Santa Barbara, California. So throughout the podcast, you might hear me reference Santa Barbara or San Ynez Valley or Santa Rita Hills, Santa Maria. It's all Central Coast, California, and that's where I was first making wine. And 2018 was my first vintage there. Vintage anywhere, I guess. And I started my wine education there just being a server, a taste room server, and then became a taste room manager. Got my WSET 1, and then made wine for them, doing my first harvest. And then I got my Certified Specialist of Wine, CSW, through the Society of Wine Educators, which is another global entity that teaches people about wine and wine education. This one is really focused on being a wine educator. So I went through that, and I think obviously, they say the best way to learn is to teach. Mm-hmm. And so I went through a teacher's program for wine education specifically. And it's kind of cool. They gave you a little post-nominal in there, which is like some initials after your name legally. So Ian King, comma CSW,
Ooh,
which is super
bougie.
super fancy. And that gave me the stepping stone to go through the WSET level 3 program. So I skipped level 2 just because there was so much information that I soaked up from the CSW program that I was like, oh man, I don't even know if I think level 2 might be a step back from where I was. Yeah. And so I took an online exam through Napa Valley Wine Academy, and they said you should take level 3. And so I took level 3 and actually had to go to Napa to take that one. I think level 3 is the first one where you actually have to travel to take an exam.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't any around me in Santa Barbara. They were like, go to LA or go to Napa. No shade on LA, but I'd rather go to Napa.
Especially for that.
Yeah, especially for wine education.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, there's plenty of awesome wine bars in LA. Some really killer wine bars over there and wine shops. But I wanted to see what all the fuss was about.
Yeah.
In Napa.
So you've told me once before you went to college. What'd you study at college?
I flip-flopped a lot. So I am from Linwood, Washington, North End, Seattle. And I moved to Santa Barbara right after high school in 2009. And went to Santa Barbara City College. At first, I was studying music.
You have an amazing voice.
So, thank you.
Cheers to that.
An amazing voice. An amazing voice of podcast and radio. And yeah, and then I was like, oh, maybe I'll go into business because I can use
Yeah.
that for a lot, which I honestly should have fucking stuck with that. But then I flipped again and I was like, you know what? I really like art history. You know, one thing about a kid with ADHD is that we have a lot of interests, especially a Gemini
Yeah.
with ADHD.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
So yeah, I flip-flopped a lot in college. I didn't do any wine focused anything in college. I did music and media or communications and media, and then after I got my bachelor's in media and communications, I went to audio engineering school in Hollywood, and that's where I learned. You know, I was recording albums for people, recording songs for people.
And that's why I'm stuck here.
So that's why you're stuck here on the podcast. Because this is kind of my background. It's like my background.
We just merged the two.
Yeah, just merged the two together. I was like, oh, this be fucking great. I love this.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
here we are.
So it's like my two passions coming together: media and wine. I couldn't have thought of anything better than this. So
yeah,
this is great. I'm glad that podcasting is a thing. And you can
yeah.
do it. I always wanted to be on radio because I'd listen to like in Seattle Cube 93.
Oh my gosh.
You know, like growing up, Cube 93 was a shit. And so I was like, man, I would love to be like a radio DJ and like interview people because I'm huge into hip hop, big hip hop nerd. And so I'm just like, that'd be so sick.
And I just have the slightest knowledge for you to interview me
yeah.
and be your co-host. Yay.
So this is great. So thank you for indulging me, if you will, on this one.
As always, I will. Oh my gosh.
But what sparked the interest in wine for you though? Like, was there like
honestly,
a wine you drank that was like your aha bottle? Where you're like, oh,
okay, so I'm a big
wine.
like. Well, I went to WSU. I drank anything and everything. You didn't. I didn't need to know
booze
what
in
it
it.
was.
I would say it.
But I found out that I'm a big Cab Franc Malbec girl. I love those big heavy reds. But then there was a time, actually, even there's a couple times, but there was one time with you when you came over for dinner and you brought a Chardonnay and it paired beautifully.
Oh, that's when you guys picked the fresh morels.
Yes.
Oh my god, that was such.
And you are not a mushroom person.
I don't fuck with mushrooms really. Like I don't. But
yeah, I do.
You guys changed my mind on this. I don't. Yeah.
But
yeah, I haven't ventured out into the mushroom world yet.
That was even. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I hated Chardonnays until that day. So, I mean, little things like that have really exposed me to just a broader world out there of what wine can do. I mean, I've always been very intrigued on how grape varieties can grow differently in different areas. That was always my go-to.
Yeah.
But then to see the finished product is huge.
Yeah.
It really makes you feel like all that hard work it went into something. I put in a vineyard when I moved out here in 2016.
Okay.
And they're finally starting to produce wine. So it's really fun for me to see that and see how much fun they're having with it.
Mm-hmm.
I've worked at a couple wineries, and the industry itself has made me love it even more and made me more intrigued on what there can be.
Yeah.
Because, I can take a Cab Franc or a Merlot and make it 1,000 different ways.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun to just kind of see what I like. And honestly, like even with Malbec, I love that black peppery Malbec.
Yeah.
But it's fun. I mean, it's a recipe. but I like, again, I like seeing the vineyard actually produce something.